School children should receive an accurate and comprehensive education on communist regimes and policies. Communism has led to the deaths of over 100 million victims worldwide. It has failed every time it's been tried. And sadly, polls today show that 1 in 5 millennials and 1 in 3 members of Gen Z have a positive viewpoint of communism. Wow.
¿Cuál traje? ¿Un chaleco a prueba de balas? No. No. Voy a desembarcar así en Nueva York. I will land in New York like this. Yes. Tengo un chaleco moral. I have a moral one.
Before we get to the video, please like, comment, subscribe, share it to that uncle who's a communist. And if he isn't, he will be.
Don't forget to follow us on Patreon at patreon.com/revolutionary rhetoric. And Revolutionary Rhetoric is an affiliate of the Anti-Capitalist Podcast Network.
All right, let's get to the video.
Hello. Welcome back.
Welcome.
Welcome
yes,
back.
we are
remote
also
again.
not together.
Remote one more
again.
time. That's okay.
Yeah,
it
we took
happens.
turns. So, see, he got sick.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm slightly sick, and my fiance has a fever. So we're like, I guess we got to do 2 in a row of these from home. Well, not a big deal, but
It's not that big a deal. Yeah, we kind of like, we got the
fun
groove
being in
down.
the commie bunker
yeah.
together.
Yeah. But we have our system with like Zoom recording and everything going, so it's okay.
Yeah, we figured
It was a pain in the ass the first couple times, but now we're getting professional with it. Cool. Yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. It's January 12th. It's Sunday morning again. We wanted to wait. We normally record on a Thursday, but we wanted to wait until Sunday because Supreme Court were hearing oral arguments about the TikTok ban on Friday. So we really wanted to wait for that, and ultimately it was kind of not really all that beneficial to wait because it looks like nothing really is going to happen. Did you see, though, separately to TikTok ban? Did you see all of the Trump's confirmation hearings start Tuesday? For all those
I did
picks?
not.
So
That's
those,
something we could pick up
yeah,
next week. Huh?
so those, yeah, that's definitely going to be a topic of conversation next week. Some of the, it's going to be a slow process, right? But like, it'll be a continual thing. But they start on Tuesday, the confirmation hearings.
Oh God.
So,
well, I don't see. Here's the thing: is like once Trump gets into office, he has made statements about, hey, maybe we don't ban TikTok. It's like, we're doing good on the platform.
yeah, we talked about that a little bit last week.
We're getting across to everybody. He's like, maybe we keep it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he's just a go with the flow guy. So like,
Exactly.
yeah, if it looks like it might not be a good idea to ban TikTok, he won't ban TikTok. Well, I mean, it's already been banned, but like, we'll see. Because like well, I guess we can just talk about that. Let's just jump right into the TikTok thing. I mean,
the Supreme Leader Xi Jinping going to take all of our data.
yeah, have our daddy, Daddy Ping,
Whoa. All right.
Daddy Xi Jinping,
Daddy Xi Jinping. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like Supreme Court is going to uphold or is going to not do anything about it. So the ban is in effect, and they heard arguments on Friday to possibly rule on that, but they're going to uphold the ban. So it looks like it'll go into effect on the 19th, which is next something.
Yeah,
it's a week from today. It's a Sunday a week from today.
So next Sunday, yeah. So it's essentially like they didn't really make any like concrete decisions.
Yeah.
According to NBC News, the Supreme Court leans toward upholding the law that could ban TikTok.
Yeah, I guess I should clarify. There's nothing saying for certain. Every news outlet is just saying it looks like it's likely that they will uphold it. It looks likely.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so they didn't make a decision either, which is kind of, I guess, annoying. It's just like, if you're going to make the decision, just make the decision already, because like, I'm not going to sit here for 20 minutes waiting, for 20 years waiting whether or not it's going to be banned.
Yeah.
If you're going to ban it, just fucking ban it. Talking
talking about Trump, like, he did file a brief to the Supreme Court asking the Supreme Court to block the ban. So like, Trump did come down legally. Like, I guess his lawyers submitted like a brief to have a stay of the ban by the Supreme Court justices so that he can, quote, pursue a political resolution, end quote, to the dispute. I don't know what that means exactly, but Trump tried legally to block the ban. So it's not just like him making statements that he doesn't want to ban. He actually tried legally to block the ban.
Honestly, politically genius. Everybody loves TikTok. It's politically genius. You know, like he had this whole Biden go through this whole process of this like authoritarian like dictation of whether or not TikTok can exist, and all these fucking Gen Z and millennials and Gen Alpha are like, "Don't touch my TikTok," you know, and I'm one of them. And then Trump's gonna swoop in and be like, "I saved TikTok. Everybody can now watch short clips of their mother falling down the stairs."
Yeah.
You know, I am the hero. He's like he's basically gonna take credit for saving TikTok from not being banned, and that's gonna bring him a lot of fucking new voters and younger generations, which is, I mean, it's brilliant if that does happen. But also, like, Jesus Christ, man, what a flopper.
Yeah, I mean, that's not that surprising. He's just the most flip-floppy guy in history. I have some quotes here from the different justices if you want to hear them.
Absolutely.
Justice Brett Kavanaugh said the government's arguments about data collection were, quote, very strong, end quote, but that the concerns about the Chinese government exerting control over content, quote, raise much more challenging questions, end quote. So, like, each of the conservative justices are kind of like just falling back and agreeing with the government's original position, which was that it's just too politically inconvenient to have China have access to all of that user data. And so that was the original kind of crux of the argument, was that, like, we can't have a communist country have all of this data. ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok, needs to sell to remain like live in the States. And then they obviously didn't, and they said it was a First Amendment violation, which is where we are now. Chief Justice John Roberts also, I'm quoting from what is this? An NBC News article here. Chief Justice John Roberts also seemed reluctant to second guess Congress, citing its findings that ByteDance is subject to Chinese laws that require it to assist with intelligence gathering. Quote, so are we supposed to ignore the fact that the ultimate parent is, in fact, subject to doing intelligent work for the Chinese government? End quote, he asked. So it's the Chief Justice John Roberts also kind of siding with that argument of.
I mean, I could say the same fucking thing for Meta.
Yeah, we made that same argument last week.
I mean, the guy who owns Twitter is in the government. Like,
yeah, that's fair too. Like, it's. And he's also not for nothing not American, right? He's a foreign agent,
yeah.
So like, or not.
He's
an agent,
a foreign agent,
yeah.
That owns the social media platform that is in the current
he's now
government.
In the government administration, yeah.
That makes direct decisions whether or not things get blocked on there. But if China asks TikTok or ByteDance whether or not they can use information, if they can get information, which they have to comply by law. That's if China asks them for that information.
Right.
So it's like everything is if. It's like we know directly, but from Elon Musk's tweet, what's the next law? When the next law is going to be taking place? Yeah,
it's just so hypocritical and so silly. And so for anyone arguing like, well, what about the First Amendment implications or First Amendment aspects? Once again, Chief Justice John Roberts says, quote, Congress doesn't care about what's on TikTok. The law is not saying TikTok has to stop. They're saying China has to stop controlling TikTok. So their argument is not that it's a First Amendment issue. It's that it's purely like the business side of it. Like it's the economics. So I think that's how they're going to get around a lot of the First Amendment. Because a lot of content creators, a lot of like TikTok users, a lot of companies have sued this law claiming First Amendment violations. But it sounds like the Supreme Court's argument is that they're not telling TikTok what to put on there, so it's not a First Amendment violation. It's purely just who owns it. So I don't know.
But Senator, I'm Singaporean.
Elena Kagan, Justice Kagan says, quote, the only First Amendment rights lie in TikTok, which does have First Amendment rights. And I guess my question is, how are those First Amendment rights really being implicated here? So it just kind of seems like all of the justices are.
Yeah.
It looks like none of them are convinced that by either Trump's brief or by the arguments that it's a First Amendment issue. Justice Sonia Sotomayor also questioned whether the forced divestiture implicates TikTok's First Amendment rights, regardless of how feasible it is to divest or how long it takes, because TikTok could, in theory, continue to operate using different technology that is not under control of ByteDance. Quote, your stronger argument, or at least the one that most interested me, was this argument of, look, if the government is doing something specifically for the purpose of changing the content that people see, that has to be subject to strict scrutiny. Sotomayor told, I guess, a reporter. Quote, I don't see that as affecting TikTok as opposed to affecting ByteDance, end quote. So yeah, even the liberal justices are kind of like, nah, that argument doesn't fly. So I don't know. I just don't have much hope that this is, that they're going to.
Yeah, no, it's going to get
It's going to get banned. And so then in that case, that goes into effect 19th. And so from what I've read is that it'll just pretty much be like, it'll just go dark. Like it'll just be, it won't be like grandfathered in. Like once you have it on your phone, it'll still work. It'll be like actual support and service and servers for like TikTok are just going to like be suspended. So like the actual platform will just fail to load. So it'll just get nuked starting on Sunday.
Wow. So we got a week left of TikTok.
Supposedly, yeah. I mean, hypothetically.
It was fun while it lasted.
Right.
It was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, it's like Vine, dude. Another one for the social media graveyard.
Well, not even, because it's all over the world, so everybody uses it besides now the
US.
US.
It just won't be the US, that's right.
Yeah.
But again...
So it's probably going to be a healthier fucking social media site, let's be honest.
Well, so like, I was talking to my students about this on Friday, because I was putting up like some of the live updates of like the Supreme Court, because it's very much relevant to them, and I'm a social studies teacher, so I was like, well, this is relevant, let's talk about this in class. But one student actually asked, well, what if I have a VPN? Like, what if I just use a VPN?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's a good question. I assume that'll be fine. Like, I assume if you just VPN into Canada or Mexico, it'll just be whatever.
I'm willing just to get a VPN just for TikTok. What is $3-4 a month?
Don't iPhones have built-in VPNs now?
I don't know.
I pay for a VPN. Like in my personal computers. Yeah, there's a free Apple, I think, like version of a VPN.
I don't think that's gonna fly, because I think how they're gonna be monitoring it is through the Apple Store, and if you're using an Apple, so it'd have to be off the market, which is fine. I need to get one anyways, and it's like they're cheap, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. I don't have one on my phone. I'm gonna download this free VPN from like the Apple Store and see what happens. See if like I'll do some experiments with that. I don't know. Anyway, any final thoughts about that? Yeah, that is a bummer. I mean, this impacts us, right? I mean, like we have a decent TikTok following.
We do have a decent TikTok following.
This isn't just like hypothetical. I mean, this is like, and obviously we're not the ones that are like greatly going to be affected by this, but because as we mentioned last week, one of the arguments we made last week is like there are people that like make their living from this. This is like
correct.
Their businesses rely on TikTok.
There's
livelihood,
thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of small creators that literally rely on TikTok.
Yeah, from from advertising, from sponsorships. Like this is TikTok is like how a lot of people live, and so like this is going to affect quite a bit.
God damn it, I'm not excited.
Yeah, like I said, I am largely impartial. I don't care all that much.
I do, especially for like I like to send videos to my fiance. We like to send videos back and forth, and we laid down at night and watched the videos that we sent to each other, and then that's pretty much what we use TikTok for. Besides, for our account for Revolutionary Rhetoric, in which we have accumulated over 1,000,
we have
1,100 followers now.
Yeah, give or take. Yeah.
And God, man, it's just like so much work putting that shit on there, and now it's going to be fucking.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, we're going to get a VPN. We're getting around this. It's going to be Canadians watching us now, but that's fine.
That's fine.
We can get, they can talk all about what they want.
Yeah, one of my students was talking about. Well, it was a different person who was like, I don't really care because like I just use Reels, and Reels are like better. And I'm like, yeah, that may be true for you, but Reels, or like Meta, it doesn't have the same like freedom of press that TikTok does, right? Like, so like a lot more content, the content flows freer on TikTok than it does on Meta. So that's something we're going to lose if it's just specifically all that's left is Reels and YouTube Shorts.
Yeah, what is this Lemon 8 thing? Like, I constantly get like the notification on our TikTok about Lemon 8.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The people want to follow us on Lemon 8, but I don't know what it is.
Lemon 8. Get the Lemon 8 app and
powered by TikTok.
Oh, I don't know. It's just another. I don't
It's
know.
like an extension of TikTok.
I guess. Yeah. A lifestyle community. It's like, I don't know, it's just like an influencer app, it looks like. I don't know. I don't care. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not on social media enough to know or care.
Yeah, that's my job.
Yeah, the fair. I mean, I'm on.
Yeah, Lemonade is also owned by China, by ByteDance.
So it probably also.
Yeah.
I assume actually, that's a good question. I don't know about the details, but I assume that like TikTok and any kind of like subsidiary or anything under its umbrella will also be banned.
All right,
we'll follow
well,
it, and next week we'll have, or I guess the week after we'll have an answer because it will have been past the date that it went banned. If we record this Thursday, it'll be the following Thursday.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens. Well, from that debacle, let's move on to our next debacle.
The next debacle. Is this the America-Mexican War, the Mexican-American War of 2025?
Correct.
Yeah.
This is the Trump. I'm trying to conduct imperialism diplomatically.
Imperialism 2.0. Let's go.
This is Trump. I have gone woke. Borders are an imaginary line. And suddenly all of North America should be United States.
I'm here for it. Let's do it.
Oh my God. So if you guys haven't heard, I don't know whether this is just for, press, you know what Trump does. If this is just for talk, if this is just a distraction, but Trump recently released, like, I guess what you would call a press statement where he was like, hey, Greenland, you should join America and leave Denmark.
Yeah.
You're closer to us anyways. New York City is closer than Copenhagen. And you're critical to our economic security. And he literally made a phone call and had, I think was his son, go all the way to Greenland with fucking Charlie Kirk.
Oh, of course.
Charlie Kirk went to fucking Greenland, and they had this town hall where there's because if you don't know, Greenland has a total of 50,000 people. Right?
Yeah, it's like 99%
like
uninhabitable. It's just a
Yeah.
few strips of coast that have cities.
Exactly. And they went to one of the largest town halls that they have, and it was 30 people in there, 40 people in there.
Yeah.
Right. And they had Trump on the speakerphone with him on TV. Basically zooming them, talking to them, saying that they should create a referendum to basically join the U.S., to leave the Danish crown. And if Denmark basically disregards the referendum or fights back, that they will sanction Denmark. That they will put tariffs on Denmark. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, dog, you can't, how, this is, Jesus Christ, we just began 2025. This guy's invade Greenland.
Yeah, there's people apparently there's a bunch of people when they were there walking around with MAGA hats on, and so there's, I have this quote from this Greenlander who's who says, we need to talk about the independence of Greenland from Denmark, but not like this, because there is a movement in Denmark, because Denmark is basically just it's the Puerto Rico of, or excuse me, Greenland is the Puerto Rico of Denmark. It is
correct.
A colony.
Except Greenland, Denmark is the size of Puerto Rico, and Greenland is the size of the United States.
Fair enough. The roles are reversed, but the land area is reversed. But it is essentially a colony, right? This age of imperialism is over. So we call them protectorates, we call them territories, but they're still colonies.
Yeah.
And Greenmark is, or excuse, I keep calling it Greenmark.
Greenmark.
Greenland is owned by Denmark, and there is people in Denmark who are or Greenland. Fuck, there are people in Greenland who are down for independence, or they want to maybe move away from Danish control. But this guy's not like this. Also, not for nothing, but I'm reading Trump is not the first person, not the first president to try to float the idea of annexing Greenland. Harry Truman offered a serious.
I believe even
Harry Truman
FDR
offered
was
$100
thinking about
million. Yeah, I imagine if Harry Truman did it, that would be just right after FDR.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that was probably that administration's something they talked about. But Harry Truman offered $100 million in gold bullion just after World War II, which would have been about $1.3 billion today, which is not a lot. But I imagine there are probably less people living there in the 40s than there are now.
Yeah,
if
so
that's even possible. Yeah. Yeah, so now people in
with
Denmark are
everything
like,
melting,
what
I
the
see
fuck?
Greenland expanding, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Like,
and not
more
for
and more
nothing, but
people.
that could be like a place that's like really habitable, because if with the ice melting, like it's just Greenland's just going to get kind of like nicer and nicer, and like that's fucked up to say, but like that could become like a rich person's like refugee, like, or like bunkers and shit. Isn't there literally a
gonna
movie
have
about
cabins
that?
because it's still gonna be cold as fuck.
Yeah,
But they're gonna be able to get like some cabins up in there.
pretty sure there's a
I
movie
mean,
about Greenland being like the last with Gerard Butler. I think it's called Greenland. There's a movie called Greenland where this is like an apocalyptic. I think like some kind of apocalypse happens and everyone tries to get to Greenland because that's where like the last shelters.
It's called Greenland with Gerard Butler, 2020.
Yeah, I remember it being good,
I
but
gotta watch this.
I don't remember a lot about it. But I remember liking it. It's just a generic apocalypse survival horror or survival movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, Denmark has had Greenland since 1830.
Yeah.
Yeah, 57,000 people live there, but it's 836,000 square miles. So it's just like it's mostly uninhabited.
How many people again?
57K. Yeah, just 57.
Okay, so they're getting up there. I mean, I remember about like 10 years ago, it was like 45K.
Yeah.
So they are increasing. 7K is a decent amount. I mean,
It should also be noted that the majority of Greenlanders are Inuit, indigenous people from
Correct.
Alaska and Canada, who also live in Alaska and Canada. It's a different language to Danish. I don't know. I don't know much about Greenland, so I'm kind of catching up right now.
yeah, they're like Inuit people. Like just like there is like you said in northern Canada and Alaska, and there's even some very similar type of people in like northeastern Siberia.
Okay, there were revelations that in the 60s and 70s, Danish doctors fitted thousands of Inuit women and girls with contraceptive devices as part of an involuntary birth control campaign without their knowledge. So it's just forced sterilization kind of thing. In the 1950s,
Jesus.
Danish authorities separated Inuit children from their families as part of a social experiment where they were re-educated as model Danes. Quote, re-educated as, quote, model Danes. So, like, I guess just white people doing white people shit to the natives, which is
Absolutely.
not,
I mean, what's new?
not all
Doesn't
that
matter.
surprising.
Jesus Christ! It's always the Western Europeans, man. Like, where they've always got something up their sleeve.
So yeah,
Well,
there is like some resentment apparently within like kind of the internal Greenland political landscape of like against like Danish.
And Trump is trying to
yeah.
take advantage of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because this has always been there. I don't know if Trump. Well, I don't know if Trump is like.
I
do not
why
give Trump
they
enough
want
credit
it.
to like see that there's like an internal strife between like indigenous and Danes and like willing to capitalize on that. I just don't think he's politically savvy enough for that. I think he's just saying shit to say shit. I don't think he
I think
sees
he's
the
told
political
to say
landscape.
it because
Fair
hear me
enough. I
out.
think there are other people that are smarter than him.
Recently, they found a shit ton of oil in the Arctic Ocean. However, with America just having Alaska as their claim to the Arctic, that is not enough area to like claim dominion over that oil. Russia has that dominion.
Right.
If they got Greenland,
Yeah.
they would actually be able to like claim some stake in that oil.
I
If
would-
they got Canada, it would be over. All of that is America's oil.
Oh yeah, that's another thing too. This whole 51st state campaign that's going on by the MAGA people to take over Canada.
It's
Also, I don't know. Well, to just wrap up Greenland real quick, I don't know how much of Greenland has been like searched or drilled or tapped. Like there could be a wealth of like oil reserves
yes.
in Greenland.
I don't think it's much.
Yeah.
I don't think it's much because it's sitting under an ice sheet.
Yeah.
Most of Greenland is an ice sheet
Yeah.
in the middle. You know, so the edges of Greenland have way more habitable land, way more land that's not like just straight ice. It's like bedrock. But
Yeah.
as everything melts, there's gonna just be more and more applicable land. It might not be a lot, but it's like, hey
Yeah.
man, it's something.
But
Some
it's,
people can
if you're
live
if
there.
you're like a capitalist with no morals, you see that as a good investment, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, this is a getting on this ground floor of this like burgeoning land.
Yeah. It'd be good for Greenland's tourism, like if they want to, like the indigenous people want to really like invest in their tourism, because everybody wants to go see some glaciers in Greenland. That sounds dope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I would love to go to Greenland. It sounds beautiful.
Absolutely.
I've seen photos from like GeoGuessr playing GeoGuessr and stuff where like you can Greenland, if you're like a GeoGuessr head, is very easy to like identify because it's just like they have very unique, colorful buildings and houses.
Yeah.
And, like it just looks very, it looks very Greenland, but it looks cool. I don't know. You want to talk about Canada for a second? I don't know too much about this one. I just know that there's like this weird MAGA, MAGA movement about the 51st
hit this first
state.
with Justin Trudeau fucking resigning. I don't know too much about that, but I heard that he resigned.
Yeah, I don't know why he was forced to resign. There was like a vote of no confidence or something from the I don't know the whole story. I know that he resigned. I showed my kids some blackface photos because there's so many blackface photos of Justin Trudeau. I didn't know he did it so many times. And like, there's a quote from him saying he doesn't know how many times he's done blackface, but it's like that was his go-to thing.
That is such a like.
Dude, I'm gonna drop a photo in the drive, dude. It's just like this like compilation.
I'll put it up. I'll put it up
all
here.
Of the
Is that acceptable by YouTube standards?
Probably because it's news reporting.
Yeah. Okay. So, according to CNN, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced his resignation on Monday, saying that he intends to step down from the top job and as the leader of Canada's ruling Liberal Party once a new party leader is chosen. I intend to resign as party leader as Prime Minister after the party selects its new leader. The 50-year-old leader told reporters they literally just said the same fucking thing twice.
Yeah.
Oh my God, CNN, do better. Canada's parliament will be suspended until March 24th until a new Liberal Party leader is chosen. One regret was failing to reform Canada's election process. That's from Trudeau. They're not saying why. What comes next? So there's no...
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really followed that one too much, but I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know what's going to happen I don't know if there's an interim president taking over. I don't really know much about Canada. I wasn't really prepared to talk about that.
We'll have to do more research on that before
come back to that one.
Too much about it. Yeah.
I dropped a photo in the drive. It's not a compilation. It's an image of 3 different examples of him like doing blackface. And it's from an article.
The middle one always gets me,
dude. Yeah,
the second one.
It's from a BBC article entitled "Canada's Justin Trudeau cannot say how often he wore blackface." I'll drop the article in if you're interested, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I could drop the article in the bio info down below if you want to see. Oh my God, that's fucking hilarious, bro. The Jesus Christ. I was like, what is he thinking?
I don't know.
It's too much.
It's what so a fucking
much.
Idiot,
He had to not only think about this, but like say like, yes, this is good. Let's do it.
And do that multiple times. It's not just like doing blackface
God.
once. Like that one person, who was that one celebrity? It was like whatever some female celebrity did, dressed up as like Lil Wayne for Halloween one year in like 2007. Or whatever. I forget the details surrounding it, but it was like, and it was just this huge thing. Justin Trudeau did it like every Halloween for like years or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My God, it's just like, this is my favorite.
But it's not just zoom in on the middle one. It's not just blackface. His entire body is painted black. That's his hand. Look at his hand around the woman. Look at the hand around the woman's chest. It's not just face, dude.
Dude, he went so extra.
And also his arms in the right picture. Also, like he just paints his whole body black. That's like his go-to thing. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with Justin Trudeau.
How the fuck do you even do it? Does he have like a barrel that he dunks himself in or something?
I don't know, man. But fuck that guy.
Himself in like squidding. Dude, if you...
what a fucking...
Squidding would work
freak.
like a charm.
What a weirdo.
Yeah. Okay,
I don't know. Let's talk about Mexico, Gulf of America,
and
Mexican America. Yeah. Our neighbors
are to watch.
Yeah, our hermanos down south. Well, hold on. Let's talk about it for a little bit because, like, in I think it was the same press conference that he said talking about Greenland, or maybe it was a different press conference. He went on this rant about changing the name of Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America, and said like, isn't it a prettier name, Gulf of America? And like, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care about stuff like that, like what it's called. But like, he's doing it out of just racism, right?
Classic identity politics,
from the conservatives. Just like, we don't like Mexico, so let's call it, like why not just go around to every American city and rename it like El Paso, and you know what I mean, like all Amarillo, Texas, and El Paso, Texas, and like all of these different city names that are named after indigenous or Spanish words. Like, if you're going to be that racist, like, do that. Like, it's like, it just seems like that would be the next logical step. But so for the first step is just taking Gulf of Mexico, renaming it Gulf of America, and now all of a sudden, of course, his weird lackeys and all the weird MAGA people are like all up in arms and being kind of like just racist to Mexicans and just generally racist, and are now kind of like latching on to this idea of the Gulf of America renamed from Gulf of Mexico.
My God, man! Next thing is they're gonna try to rename all the cities in Texas, and
that's
Arizona,
what I'm saying. Like,
New Mexico.
it's just dumb.
San Antonio just gonna be called
Saint Anthony.
St. Anthony, yeah.
Yeah, El Paso, the pass. I mean, all of these have English. I mean, they're just Spanish words, so like they have English translations.
But
obviously,
that's the thing. It's just like they want to not because it's Mexican, but because it's not fucking English, they want to change it, which is fucking racist and just
it's just racist. It's just racist.
It has
like
nothing
you said,
to
it's
do
just
with
identity.
America.
What's Scheinbaum's first name?
I don't know. Hold up, Jesus
Claudia
Christ.
Scheinbaum.
Yes.
Yeah. So and this is also off the heels of like last year or the year before even. I don't know. There was like back and forth between Mexican President Claudia Scheinbaum, who was elected like last year sometime. I think she's the first female president of Mexico. Claudia Scheinbaum was elected president of Mexico, and then Trump is all of a sudden talking about like tacking 25% on tariffs, sending like all the deporting everybody who's here illegal and sending them to Mexico, which not for nothing, but a lot of them aren't Mexican or from Mexico.
Yeah.
So it's like Claudia Scheinbaum clapped
Colombians,
back.
Ecuadorians,
Yeah, Claudia Scheinbaum
Venezuelans.
clapped back and said, "Yeah, we will take people like because we're like not monsters, and like if there's people that need a home, we'll take them, but like they're not Mexican. Like why would you send them to Mexico?" And then she also said, like, if you add a 25% tariff to any goods from Mexico, like, we'll hit you right back with a 25% tariff, and like kind of threatening a tariff war, which is not good for the economy or like manufacturing in either Mexico or America, right? Because a lot of goods are hecho in Mexico. Like a lot of goods are made in Mexico, and like slapping a 25% tariff on those, it would like fucking destroy our economy. And then likewise, like Mexico and Canada are like our largest trading partners. Like you really don't want to start like shitting where you eat on like your economy, right? Like what is it? It was NAFTA. I forget what it's called nowadays. It used to be the North American Free Trade Agreement. Now it's called something else. But like, it's just
Jesus
that
Christ.
Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. have like strong trade alliances and a trade agreement, and like Trump is fucking with that. And like, I think that there's serious ramifications apart from like the jokes. But like,
100%.
like trade and production, like imports from Mexico is like a lot of American goods come from Mexico. Anyway, so there was the whole tariff war thing, but then after that, that's when this Gulf of America thing came on, and then Claudia Scheinbaum, I don't know what the event was that she was giving, but there was some video of her, and she was giving some presentation or whatever, and I don't know, do we want to play the video? She was talking about,
let's take a look at the video real quick.
Yeah, so here, let's do that. Where is it? Oh.
Obviamente el Golfo de México es reconocido el nombre por Naciones Unidas, un organismo de Naciones Unidas, pero el siguiente, ¿por qué no le llamamos América Mexicana? Se oye bonito, ¿no? ¿Verdad que sí? Desde 1607, la Constitución de Apatzingán era de América Mexicana. Entonces, vamos a llamarle América Mexicana.
That's it. Let's just call it Mexican America.
So she's... Alright, so she's basically just saying, let's basically snap back.
I think she's just trolling him because she seems
snap back.
like she's funny and like I don't know how much of
Absolutely.
it. It just seems
She's
like she's like
talking
willing to
shit.
troll Trump. But also like she said in another interview that like once or like I saw a quote from her like kind of like being a little more serious and just being like all of this shit needs to stop. Like this is serious. Like it's not just some like pissing contest. We're like two of the bigger countries in the world, like two of the most like or at least not big in the world, but like Mexico and America like need to be friends. Like you can't turn our biggest country to the south like into an enemy, and like you can't start like fucking with their economy. They can't start fucking with our economy. That has serious consequences. And,
Absolutely.
Like they need to stay friends, and like
not just economic, but like for stability purposes, militarily.
Yeah.
And like, because if Mexico doesn't have stable relations with the U.S., then the whole Central America is going to be basically against the U.S. I mean, the U.S. is just basically digging their own grave when it comes economically at this point.
Putting their foot in their mouth, dude. Just keeps like turning allies
to
enemies over and over and over again. Yeah.
You're destroying. You're creating enemies across the globe, and especially in your own backyard. And then there's organizations such as BRICS that are going to come in and swoop in and take those what you once called allies, and they're going to make them allies. And then now you have enemies in your own backyard. You're digging your own grave, and it doesn't make any fucking sense. The ego on Trump and the ego on some of the conservatives are kind of funny.
Yeah,
because just like the amount of things that you're about to fuck up, and it's gonna look so bad on your part, but you just don't see it because you're just so full of yourself. You think nothing's gonna happen. Well, you're digging your own grave, so we're gonna watch you do it. I'm not gonna stop you. Go for it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know. We'll have to kind of see what's going on there because, like I said, I'm a little nervous about this because like there are bigger implications to like this pissing contest between Mexico and America. Although I think I find it funny, and I encourage Claudia Sheinbaum to continue to fuck with Trump because he's so easy to mess with.
Yeah, it's so easy to troll him. It really doesn't take much. I mean, he kind of sets himself up for it.
Yeah, it's not to victim blame, but yeah, it's really his own fault.
We'll allow victim blaming.
We'll allow victim blaming for Trump. Yeah. Yeah,
for Trump, victim blame all you want.
All right, final story, big one.
Yeah, let's get to the final story.
All right, well, this is the big one. It's kind of sad. The LA fires. To no surprise, I think everyone's aware of the Los Angeles fires that are kind of just raging all over Southern California, in and around LA, in the city of Los Angeles. Some of the photos come out of this are just insane. Have you seen like some of like the images and videos that are coming like of like just built like there was that one that was really cool. I'll see if I can find it, but it was like a McDonald's on fire, and then palm trees in front of and the winds were just blowing so far.
It's like
so it was
blowing like crazy.
It was like creating like sparks and embers just flying, and it was like it just looked so metal and so epic and cool. But like obviously it's not cool because it's like Los Angeles is on fire. But there's just been a lot of photos of like fuck McDonald's, but like what about the neighborhood? I like
that it was snapped with McDonald's practically on fire.
Yeah, there was another photo. It was like a Cybertruck parked on the street, and like the whole street was on fire, and it was just like, I don't know. There's all these visual metaphors for Los Angeles, but like, I will say that I was thinking about that because obviously I'm not like, I would never be happy that something like this is happening, but there is a certain value in that. Like, it's primarily, I don't know if primarily is the right word, but it is, for the first time, most natural disasters and most results of climate change do not affect the rich, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Most disasters and most problems don't affect the rich. Like even something like Hurricane Katrina hitting New Orleans and stuff, like that's primarily affects poor people, and if you are rich, you are evacuated and you have a second home or something.
Yeah,
there is a certain value and benefit.
Shit,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a certain value and there's a certain benefit to like rich people being affected by this so proportionally higher than they normally are, in that it might cause some of them to like wake the fuck up and like like there's just like Mel Gibson's house was burned down, Adam Brody, who else, like I think Mark Hamill, James Woods was on the news crying.
Woods,
that was pretty fun because also fuck James Woods, that guy's a fucking monster. But like
garbage.
But like there's just been a lot of like big celebrities whose houses have burned down, and so like hopefully maybe this can like open some eyes as to like the severity of like just the effects of climate change.
Have you heard about like they've done like recent arrests, and like there's supposedly allegedly there are people going around and lighting fires on purpose to start fires.
Oh, I haven't heard that. No, that's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, and then multiple people have been arrested in speculation that they were attempting to light a fire.
Oh, I haven't heard that. I've heard that
it is true. That's fucked up. But also, if I would not be surprised if it's also not true, and then they're just trying to come up with any reasoning besides the fact that there's climate change involved.
Yeah. Paris Hilton's house has also been burned.
Yeah, fuck.
I don't know. Yeah, I had a note here. So that's the thing too. Is like all these people, like they'll be fine, but like there's a ton of people that won't be fine, right? That don't have multiple houses.
Correct.
There was something I had. Oh, the police have made so far 29 arrests, 25 in the Eaton area, and 4 in the Palisades area. Because it's not just one fire. There are 3 kind of separate fires burning in and around the Los Angeles area. There's the Palisades fire, which is the biggest. There's the Hearst and the Eaton fires, which are all kind of varying sizes. And some of these arrests were people. It's like from like I don't know. Some of them are weird. One of them say because they have enacted a curfew, so there's a 6 p.m. curfew now in the Los Angeles area, which I think is strange. Like if you have evacuation orders and you're trying to get people out of a burning building, why would you want to keep them indoors past 6 p.m.? That seems kind of counterintuitive to me. But a lot of these
Why
arrests
would you
have been
have
made.
a curfew anyways?
I guess so. Let me read this because this is kind of where I'm like, this is like the fucked up police state, and this is the part where I started going pretty anti-police. Is because, well, police have so far made 29 arrests, 25 in the Eaton fire area and 4 in the Palisades fire zone. These included 2 individuals caught posing as firefighters and entering properties. On Saturday night, police arrested 1 person for curfew violation in the Palisades and 6 people in Eaton. 3 for violating curfew and 3 for additional charges, including carrying a concealed firearm and narcotics-related charges. So I don't know why that's relevant, because like just having drugs on you has nothing to do with the fire, and having a gun on you has nothing to do with the fire. So I don't know if but here's the thing. I wonder if the curfew gives them PC, like gives them probable cause to then search them, right? Because you can't just be searched by the cops. That's a Fourth Amendment violation. But if you're out past, if there's a law that says you're out past curfew, or an ordinance or whatever that says you're out, there's a curfew. So if a cop pulls you over at 6:01, you are now committing a crime. So therefore, they have at least like probable cause to like search you. So they can just basically, it's a stop and frisk anytime, anybody after 6 p.m. and they're just going to find a lot more crime that way, or at least a lot more people that are.
So they're basically looking for evidence.
They're using it as as a crutch to kind of, arrest people. So I don't know. That's pretty fucked up. There's also a lot of fucked up. Like the cops are arresting people for handing out supplies. Like there was mutual aid tents and zones set up where people were handing out supplies, and cops were ticketing people for not having like permits to give out food and water. So that's pretty fucked up.
What the fuck? Yeah.
Well, it's just cops. Cops doing cop things.
Yeah, classic. But like, Jesus Christ, man, we're in the middle of a goddamn fire.
Yeah, so there's like this is it reminds me of COVID, honestly, dude. Like where it was like COVID showed us where it was a stress test for like our society and like how unprepared we are for something like a global pandemic, right? Where it shows you all of the holes in society. It shows you who is the most negatively affected. It shows you where the problems are with like just greed and like it's just everything. It's just COVID was such a good beta test for like if something catastrophic happens, this is the dry run. This is like the dress rehearsal. And these are all the things that went wrong. And so now as a society and as a government, as politicians, we should look at all of those things that went wrong, like the toilet paper hoarding, the baby formula, how it was like almost exclusively like black and brown communities that had like much higher COVID rates because they're the ones that had to go to work, that were considered like essential workers and stuff. It's like, okay, let's look at all of these individual problems and start working on fixing them. We now have our homework. We know what will go wrong. And this fire is doing the exact same thing. We're now finding out that's like, okay, so like a lot of the work that they're using to fight these fires is prison labor. It's so they're using slave labor to fight the fires. 3, there was like this information that like all of the evacuation routes that you can look up on like LA County's websites and stuff are all behind paywalls. So you have to like subscribe to get the fire evacuation routes because late stage capitalism, that makes sense, right?
Wait, what?
That was some of the reports I was seeing was that like
that there was the
fire evacuation
routes were behind a paywall.
Were behind paywalls. And so it's just like we're just learning all of this shit of like cops ticketing people for handing out water, cops pulling over and ticketing people for just trying to escape their homes. If you want to make out
alive, you have to subscribe.
Yeah, it's just like, dude,
$5.99 a month.
It's just like we refuse to learn our lessons here, man. And it's just like every natural disaster we come across, it's just like the darkest. That's when you hear the darkest shit, and like that's when you find out like the seediest underbelly of like how actual like nefarious like and how like just dastardly capitalism is because of how like it affects these people and because of like these things like saying that evacuation routes have paywalls or that people are ticketed for getting out supplies to people who just lost their houses because that's capitalism. Like, it's all about monetization, and it's like you can't. Why would you give out a water bottle when you could go buy? Why would you let somebody give away water when you could force them to buy water from you? Why would you give them an evacuation route for free when you could sell it to them? Because it's just all about maximizing profit.
Well, at that point, man, just like that's where I just need to come in as a government and be like, because if I ever hear you doing this, you're going to fucking straight to prison, and you're going to be doing the slave labor. Yeah.
Well, so speaking of slave labor, around 30% or more of the firefighting force are from prisons that aren't really getting paid. Although technically they're getting paid $25 for every 24-hour shift. So it's like $1 an hour, or a little over $1 an hour, like $1.10 an hour.
That's literally slave labor.
Yeah. Well, because like, so the thing is like,
it's not even enough to buy you food for the day.
Yeah, like not in LA, right?
Yeah.
So like the idea is that like these people will like they're gaining the experience that they could become firefighters when they get released, but like obviously like if any of them are felons, like they're not going to get hired as a firefighter, so they're kind of being lied to there. But also not for nothing, like these people aren't like, because like somebody said like, well, they did a crime, so like they like if you're in prison you get told what to do, and it is what it is. And I'm like, these people are in prison in LA County, right? Like these aren't like murderers and rapists. Like most of these people are here for drug offenses. Like most of them are black men for drug offenses, and so that's who like you're sending into these like incredibly dangerous wildfires to like fight for no pay. Anyway,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I don't know. It's we could talk about the details of the fire real quick. I have some stats if you're interested.
Absolutely.
It's going to be one of the most costliest fires in U.S. history so far. It's the damage projected at up to $150 billion. And I also say the information I'm working off is a couple days old, so this is probably much worse by now.
Yeah.
Damage projected at up to $150 billion. Insured losses are expected to be above $8 billion. Celebrities, like I mentioned, who have lost their homes so far are Mel Gibson, Adam Brody, and Paris Hilton. But again, there's many more than that. The Palisades fire was the first fire to erupt. It became the biggest in the region. It's scorched so far. It has burned more than almost 24,000 acres, including the Pacific Palisades neighborhood, which is like an incredibly like affluent, wealthy neighborhood. So like the Palisades fire is the one that's hitting like the rich people, and it's also the biggest. As of Sunday morning, which was I think a week ago, Sunday morning, it is only 11% contained. So like these fires are also like they're not doing a great job stopping them because there's such high winds. Is one problem. It's really dry. There's not a lot of water. It's just they're having a really tough time putting these fires out. The Eaton fire, which is northern Los Angeles. This one is a poorer neighborhood. It is in areas such as Altadena. It's the second biggest fire. It's burned around 14,000 acres, and the last count, according to this outdated information, it was 27% contained. And the Hearst fire, which is the smallest fire, it's north of San Fernando. It's grown to 800 acres, and it's almost fully contained. So the Hearst fire is kind of the least destructive right now.
Yeah.
And there were Kenneth, Archer, Sunset, Lydia, Woolley, and Oliva fires, and they've all been contained. So the problem is it's not just like one big fire they're working on. It's like half a dozen fires in different like neighborhoods spread out, right? So it's that only makes it more difficult to contain, which is kind of one of the reasons it has been so they're having such difficulty containing them. Like if you just Google like LA fire maps, it's actually wild. They're all over the place. Also, not for nothing, but
in January,
last year's LA City Council removed like $24 billion from the fire department and then gave it to the police. So like,
and now the police are just like aiming at the sky, just shooting their bullets at the fire.
Yeah. So like, this just goes back to more where like we're just taking away. Like LA police make, I think, more than the GDP of like most European countries. It's just like I forget what the actual LAPD budget is. Not to just make this about cops, but like it's the city council and the government are taking away funding. In fact, I think the LA Fire Department was the most defunded part of the LA government, like a part of the budget from last year. The fire department took the biggest hit, and then all that money was then given to the police department. And so now you have all these fires, and there's no budget, and there's no firefighters, there's no trucks, there's no, you know what I mean? They don't have the logistics or infrastructure to handle it because they were defunded.
Yeah. Also, there's like that whole point of privatization of like the water supply in California too.
Right. Yeah.
Where,
it's like that one family, that one guy and his wife own like 80% of the water in California.
It's crazy.
It's like fucking wild.
So I think it's they own the pomegranate brand, and the pistachio brand, and it's like they have basically a tycoon. They have a huge monopoly on pomegranates and pistachios, and they have to use like 60 to 80% of the fucking state's water. You know, they have private ownership.
Yeah, the Resnicks is their name.
Like, what?
The Resnicks.
The Resnicks?
That's their name. Yeah, Resnick. What's their first name? I don't know. Yeah, they're like pistachio moguls. agricultural tycoons, and they that says they guzzle more water than all of the firefighter or all of the fighting of the fires in LA have like combined. Like they use so much goddamn water.
Yeah, see, it's like now we know where the real problem's coming from.
Yeah, and I guess that's another problem is like the fire hydrants in LA are like empty.
Yeah. So maybe if they weren't so empty, the fires would be a lot more contained. Less people would have died. How many people do we have dead?
Actually, that's kind of one of the silver linings. Is so far only 16.
Okay, so that's not horrible.
Yeah, except that number is probably much underreported. There are currently cadaver dogs like searching the burned out ruins of some of these houses, trying to find more bodies because like obviously there's more people missing than 16. There's been 16 confirmed deaths, but I think once the kind of the fires die down, that number's gonna skyrocket. Would be my guess. But as of right now, only 16 are confirmed.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's not too bad. At least people are surviving. Because things can be rebuilt. We can't. Once we lose people, they can't come back. God damn. And do they know where it's headed? Like, is there certain? Like with the Palisades fire, is it headed like north or east? Or...
that's a good question. That I don't know.
Because I knew Malibu was affected, but it's like, what if it goes? Is it heading towards Hollywood directly?
I don't know. Let me pull it up.
That'd be kind of crazy if they like burned down all of Hollywood.
It's expanding east to Brentwood and Encino, and Brentwood is also another really rich neighborhood. So yeah, it's heading east through.
This is a fucking based ass fire.
Yeah, this fire is eating the rich, dude. And like, obviously, it's not just rich people. It's like people that are working there and like living there, and there's apartments. It's but that's what I was kind of saying at the beginning of the story is it's like there is a certain value in that this is disproportionately affecting rich people, whereas things like these normally disproportionately affect poor people, and just maybe that'll help. At least people to kind of open their eyes to the problems of this. Although we could talk about James Wood going on the internet or going on CNN or whatever, Fox News, and just like crying that his house was destroyed. And like, also Mel Gibson like said some fucking weird shit. What was the conspiracy theory that Mel Gibson was spouting about the LA fires?
Oh my god, I don't know. There's a fucking conspiracy theory about the LA fires?
Mel Gibson, he said something. Let me pull it up. I don't know. We're gonna pause here for a second because he said he was on Joe Rogan recently.
The Getty.
Yeah, the Getty Museum is like might be burned down too, which is like there's some museums that are like in the path of it, which I think is a real bummer. That's sad.
Oh, but I mean, it's not that far from Beverly Hills.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I have a list here. Milo Ventimiglia, who was in like Heroes and stuff. Mandy Moore, Billy Crystal, Jeff Bridges, Paris Hilton, Ricky Lake, Miles Teller. They've all lost their homes. So there's a lot of celebrities that have lost their homes.
Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, well, that's what. I think it's not that it's weird because I don't want to say that it's good, but like.
I feel bad for the poor people, man.
I don't really care that rich people lost their homes. They'll be fine, right?
Yeah. So dude, they're honestly not that far from. So like, if I put a tracker here.
Okay, so Mel Gibson went on Fox News and told Laura Ingraham, who's like a fucking fascist, that if the fires were commissioned, quote, commissioned, in order to move people off of valuable property. So he's like saying he's thinking that rich people were targeted, which is like fucking insane. He just says it just seemed a little convenient that there was no water. It's like, no, man, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's just like capitalism and our police state.
These people are so
all
close.
of these can be like easily explained just by like, yes, capitalism.
So it's a 30-minute drive to Beverly Hills.
Where the Palisades, where the fire is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know enough about like the geography of LA.
I'm on Google Maps right now.
Oh,
I'm like
okay.
literally. Actually, hold up.
I hate LA, man. I've only been to LA a few times, and every time.
Hold up, I was wrong. It's 19 minutes.
Yeah, it's pretty close. I don't know.
Fire.
I think it'll probably be contained by then. I don't know. We'll see.
Because it's starting to head into like the actual cities.
Yeah. Yeah, it started on the coast, right? It started on the coast and started making its way east, as I understand it. What I don't know, what I haven't been able to find, is how did it start? Like, how did the actual fire start?
Nobody knows. That's from what I understand. It's like nobody fucking knows. Because it's like, there's a lot of like speculation whether. Oh yeah, the Eaton fire is Altadena. They're kind of, it's heading toward Pasadena. From what I understand, there's like a lot of speculation. It could have been like, one of the wires broke off from like what are those called? The electric towers. One of the wires broke off and then hit the ground and started a fire.
Yeah.
Or somebody could have threw a cigarette. Well, these rich fucks could have threw a cigarette. There's a lot of things that could have happened, man. There's just like, there's no way of actually knowing it until they like go and do an
investigation,
deep investigation,
like an arson
yeah.
investigation, yeah, or just like some kind of fire investigation.
Yeah,
Well, all right, yeah. Everything else you want to say about the Palisades fire or the LA fires? I don't know. Again, this is a story we'll obviously keep in in mind, and we'll be following, because obviously we hope it gets contained, because it's moving into the city, and there's I don't know how many tens of millions of people in the greater Los Angeles area.
dude, it's crazy. It's scary. I feel bad for the people, but from what it looks like it's Santa Monica Mountains National Recreational was that park?
Yeah.
National recreational area. It's just a lot of trees and shit, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm just confused how in January a fire has started, but when we go to fucking Texas,
Climate change.
there's I get that, but just like, and I'm speaking rhetorically. But when you go to Texas, there's videos coming from northeastern Texas where it's literally snowing right now.
Yeah, climate change, where it's like hot in Wisconsin in January, snowing in Texas. It's like, yeah, man. Do you think this is fucking normal? Like, what?
Also, right now in Seattle, this is not normal. We haven't even had one freeze yet.
Yeah.
We usually get a freeze, like our first freeze of the year, by like the end of October, early November.
And it's like 40 degrees here. It's like,
yeah, and it starts like there's always like snow late November, like right near Thanksgiving. It snows almost always. Like,
yeah, I hope that does.
times.
What I really hope is that doesn't mean it's going to be like another 90, 100 degree summer, because like that shit sucks here, dude.
Well, it's usually the vice versa. If it's a hot winter, it's a cold summer.
Oh,
La
okay.
Nina, El Nino, right? But like we haven't had a freeze yet. Yeah. It's mid-January. It hasn't dropped below freezing yet.
Yeah,
I've never seen that in my life.
42 degrees right now. Yeah, I remember last year it was 16 degrees.
Yeah, I've played soccer in 9 degrees before.
Yeah, we'll see.
It hasn't dropped freezing yet. That's crazy to me. That's never happened here.
Yeah, it's kind of not
snow,
good,
but
right?
like it'll at least be freezing rain. At least we get below zero, right? Like it's Celsius, obviously, but below 32 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah,
or somewhat close.
Do you think?
Do
you think in terms of
35.
Celsius?
What's up?
Do you think in terms of Celsius?
A little bit, because my job is all about Celsius.
Oh, okay.
And so like I have this conflict of like
Sure.
brain power.
Well, all right, man. Anything you want to add? We'll for next week we'll probably have an update, at least some updates on the Senate confirmation hearings for some of Trump's cabinets. We'll have maybe an update on the fire, see what's going on there, and then probably won't have word back on TikTok yet, because the ban doesn't go into effect until that following Sunday. But all right,
okay,
cool, man.
Yeah, well, hell yeah. I'm looking at Google Maps, and like there's all these different areas, and there's like different fires on Google Maps. It's just really it's like a click to play. It's kind of cool. Sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, follow us on our social medias, but you can follow us on TikTok at least for another week and a half. So we'll see there. We'll see how that goes. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Revolutionary Rhetoric podcast, wherever you get your social medias. If you're watching this on YouTube, appreciate it. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. Subscribe is the most important thing. Kind of help get us those numbers up. If you're watching this on YouTube, there is a audio version. If you're listening to this on the audio version, head on over to the YouTube version. If you're on your podcast app, give us a 5-star review or whatever review you think we deserve. If you do leave a written review, we'll read it out. Follow our Patreon, Revolutionary Rhetoric Podcast. We do have a free Patreon where we're just kind of posting some behind the scenes, some bloopers, stuff like that, just kind of more funny, laid back stuff. It is free, so if you just want to head over there and check it out, if you're bored, go for it. We do have a Discord, Revolutionary Rhetoric Discord. It's kind of low key right now, just a handful of people in there chatting. That's what I've been saying is probably the best way to get a hold of us, short of emailing us, revolutionaryrhetoric@gmail.com. If you hop into the Discord, that's probably the easiest way to actually, like, if you have a
I check it at least once a day.
Yeah, if you ping us and if you have a question for us, we'll see it. So, like, that's just kind of the best way. As always, Revolutionary Rhetoric is a member of the Anti-Capitalist Podcast Network. So go ahead and give those guys a look in and see what they're working with. A bunch of cool guys over there. We're trying to actually get a couple of them on again soon. So we're working on that now.
Green and Red Podcast. We're trying to get them on again. This time with you on it, hopefully.
Yeah. I don't plan on missing any episodes anytime soon. So
yeah.
Although my school does start again tomorrow, which I'm not looking forward to.
I love how it's like I'm about to like have my day off and it's like everybody just starts getting sick and I'm just like, dude, this is a never-ending conundrum.
Well, also my school fucked me too. I got an email. Sorry, let me yawn. I got an email saying I had a scheduling conflict or a scheduling issue. And I was like, well, they gave me, I mean, that's like, my grad program is like scheduled, right? It's like every semester I have all the classes I need to take. It's not like I have to go like find and choose my classes every semester. It's like, it's preordained what my classes are, right?
Yeah.
So I go in and I'm like, I call and I talk to my advising person because I just got to notice that there is an error and like not what the error is. And I'm like, I went to look at it and I'm like, no, it matches my plan perfectly. Like whatever. So like I call and I'm like, yeah, I got this error. I don't know. I can't figure out what it is. And they're like, oh yeah, one of the classes you have scheduled to take over the summer semester is no longer offered over the summer semester. And I'm like, okay, well, can I switch? And they're like, no, because like those also aren't over the summer. I just have to add it to my current spring semester that starts tomorrow. So now I'm taking 4 classes, which doesn't sound like a lot. I understand, but like they are
with full-time work.
Yeah. So I was doing 3, 3, and 3. Well, now I'm doing 4, 2, and 3 because the one class over the summer they don't offer it over the summer anymore, and I can't add it to my next fall semester because I have like a thesis kind of research project I have to do for that semester that is going to take all of my attention. I can't just have like a random like class.
Yeah.
So that had to get added to this semester, unless I wanted to like split up and reshuffle and graduate next spring, which I didn't want to do. I wanted to get so my master's program ends in the fall. So anyway, I have to take like a fuck ton of credits this spring semester. So I'm just going to be like, I don't know.
Swamped.
We'll see how that works with like, I say I'm free now and I'm not going to miss an episode anymore, but I don't know, man. I'm about to get fucked. So
we'll see what we can do.
It'll be all right. We'll work around it. We're usually pretty good at like getting,
worst case scenario.
I don't know. Honestly, this Sunday morning is like working really well with me. So like we'll have to kind of talk. We'll talk offline if we want to keep that.
Yeah.
But I like this Sunday morning. Anyway, this is not interesting for most people. So thanks as always. Really appreciate you guys. This is episode 57. We love you and we'll see you next time.
Take it easy, guys.
Bye.
Bye.